morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation on understanding Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. My name is Maggie Schoolteddy, and I'm the Training and Compliance Specialist here at the Medina County Board. And we are joined by our very own favorite quality support specialist, Kim Bernardi. And just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. You'll notice that all participants joining online are set to microphones muted and cameras off, as today's presentation will be recorded and posted to our YouTube page. A link to the recording and a survey will be sent out later this week. For everyone in person, you'll find the presentation in the folder with several attachments. These were also emailed in the reminder yesterday. Questions will be taken at the end. If you are online, you can submit them via the Q&A box, and I will make sure they get relayed to Kim. For in-person participants, please wait for a microphone to ensure our online guests hear your question. We have paper in front of you in case you want to write down any questions you may have. And if you have very specific personal questions, Kim information is listed at the end of the presentation, and you can feel free to reach out to her, or if you're working with an SSA. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Kim.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. Hi, I'm Kim Bernardi. I've been here over 29 years with the county board. I was an SSA for 19 of those years, and since 2018, I've been the quality support specialist. I have a plethora of jobs that I do, but throughout the years of being an SSA, I learned a lot about Social Security and Medicaid benefits for individuals with disabilities, and I enjoy helping individuals with their benefits. So I do a lot of trainings. Today is about Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. In July, I'll be back doing one more on work incentives, impairment-related work expenses, subsidies, and all that when it comes to working. So I usually do it all at once, but it's a very long presentation, so we split it up this time. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. Unless, did you tell them not to? No, I'm just kidding. I have a little sense of humor. But so we're going to talk about, first there's, oh, it's working. There we go. Zach.
You have to use the down button.
But then it went back. Oh, well, I guess I went forward, sorry. Okay. No. Okay, this is where I'm starting. Okay. There's 3 types of Social Security benefits an individual with disabilities can receive, and I'll explain each one and asset limits and how they can receive these benefits. Okay, the first one is Social Security Supplemental Income, other words, SSI. So if anybody says SSI, it's Social Security Supplemental Income. It doesn't require work credits. You don't have to be working to receive this. Social Security Disabled Adult Child, it's based off of a parent's work record. Parent must be retired, deceased, or disabled. We're going to get more into all these. Social Security Disabled Individuals, based on the individual's work record if they're paying into Social Security. No. Okay. Social Security Supplemental Income, again, is SSI. So you have to have a qualifying disability. Social Security does have a list of disabilities that will automatically qualify. And then other disabilities, they're going to look into it with all the medical information and everything. Some individuals, they will be denied, sometimes they're denied the first time. You can appeal it. A lot of times I've noticed lately, kiddos coming out of school, if they didn't have some kind of work assessment stating that they need to be more in VOC-HAB instead of community employment, they will deny them because they'll say that they don't have enough information. So I always try to let people know, if their son or daughter is coming out of high school, to make sure they go through like OOD to get work assessments, and sometimes high schools will do them because Social Security wants to see that information. Yes.
What is the list of the automatic?
They don't give it to us, so I don't have that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I know, like, an individual with Down syndrome, an individual with cerebral palsy, an individual with spina bifida, those would definitely. More of I see a lot more of on the autism spectrum being denied, especially of higher functioning and not showing any work assessments stating they need some assistance. That's more what I've seen because I've helped a lot of families apply, and then I've helped with some appeals. You're welcome. So you don't have to have a work history. You don't have to be working. Okay. But if somebody is working and applies for SSI benefits, they cannot be making more than $1,690 a month gross earned income. If somebody's already making $1,690 a month, Social Security will say they're substantially gainfully employed and they'll get denied SSI benefits. So sometimes when somebody's coming out of high school, maybe apply for benefits before you start working. Okay. Now the goal is we want everybody to work. Don't get me. But if you need the benefits just in case, I would apply before they start working or start working too much. If you get SSI, you automatically get Medicaid benefits. Okay. You can have concurrent benefits. You can have SSI benefits, and you can have Social Security benefit off of your work record or your parents' work record, which I'll get more into on that. The most SSI this year is $994 a month. It seems to go up every year when there's a cost of living. And you're not allowed more than $2,000 in assets when you're on SSI benefits, and when you're on Medicaid, based on which Medicaid. If it's a Medicaid waiver or a regular Medicaid, disabled Medicaid, $2,000 in assets. A minor is based off parents' income and assets. So if you have a minor that has a disability, Social Security is going to be like, okay, yes, your child's disabled, but your income and assets affect that SSI check. If the family's income and assets are too high, they're going to get denied SSI. Doesn't mean that your child won't qualify after they turn 18. Yes.
Where can we find like the income limits? Is that for the parents that affect the children?
I can get that for you if you want to give me your email, and I'll send some information to you, because it's a calculation that they do, and it depends on how many people in the family,
Okay. And then
and income.
would you suggest to apply anyways?
You can always try, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, all they can do is deny.
Right.
Yeah. This is affected by earned income and unearned income. So SSI is a supplemental income. It will fluctuate. The check will fluctuate based on if you're working or if you're getting another Social Security check. Or I know when I was in SSA, there were some families that had a minor child who was eligible for SSI, but then the mother was receiving child support benefits for that child. So that affected the SSI check as well. Workman's comp, anything like that would affect the SSI check. So we talked about resources and substantial gainful activity. Earned income is obviously money earned from work, salaries, commissions, bonuses, severance packages. In-kind food and shelter. In-kind food and shelter is one where an individual lives at home. So when you're applying for SSI benefits, Social Security wants to know, is the individual paying their fair share of the rent, utilities, the food? Okay. So if there's four family members in the household and I was disabled, I'd have to be able to pay 1/4 of all that, of my fair share. If $9.94 a month was not enough for me to pay my fair share, then they're going to say that I'm still being taken care of by my family, and they're going to cut that check down. It's like $690 a month. They'll take $300 off that check because I'm still being supported. So if my fair share was $1,200 a month, $9.94 is not going to cover that. So that's what's in-kind support. So if you do apply, you need to let them know this is the person's share. This is what my mortgage is. That's what they're going to want to know. This is what our food bill is. This is what the utilities are, not including phone and cable, because those aren't necessities. I'm not really supposed to get much into wages right now because that's coming in July. But let's see, gross wages per month. So whatever you earn that month is going to affect your SSI check. So let me just go on this real quick. So SSI, so $9.94 a month. Okay. I'm making $800 a month earned income. Okay. They're going to take my $800 and they're going to disregard the first $85 of that. So that's $715, right? Okay, good. All right. Then they're going to divide that by half, the $715. Anybody know what that is? $353. Yeah, $357.50. Okay. So they're going to count out of the $800 a month of my earned income against my SSI check, they're going to only count the $357.50 against it. So they'll disregard the first 85, then divide it by half. So $357.50 minus $9.94, that'll be my Social Security check for that month. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm still going to get an SSI check. I'm still going to get my $800 income, but my SSI check is going to be smaller based on that calculation. Funds withheld from earned income due to garnishing wages. I did have somebody on my caseload who had a child, and out of his Social Security check, he paid child support.
$100, was that wages?
That was earned wages, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so they don't count dollar for dollar of your earned wages against your SSI check. They disregard the first 85, and then they divide that by half. So then that's what they count against the SSI check. Okay. So I had somebody who worked and also had SSI and paid child support. They still counted his gross earned income, not after the child support, before the child support. Okay, earned income exclusions, a tax refund. If you get a tax refund, it's not counted as income, but if you hold on to it for too long, it's counted as an asset. We have to keep $2,000 or less in our account. Okay. Impairment-related work expenses, we'll get to those in July, but just a quick brief. If I'm paying for something that I need to be able to work, they'll subtract that off of my income, and then it'll give me a higher SSI check. Earned income tax credits, that's what I was talking about. Student earned income exclusion. If somebody's 22 years old or younger and they're in school and in college, at least 8 weeks an hour in college, what they're earning they will not start taking money from the SSI check until they got past these amounts. So it's $2,410 a month or $9,730 for the year. So if I'm a student and I made $9,000 that year, I'm going to get all my SSI check. But once I'm not a student anymore and I'm working, that's when my check will start fluctuating again. Any questions? Confused? Makes sense? Okay. Social Security benefits, unemployment benefits, workman's comp, again, all these are against your SSI check. Home energy assistance, grant scholarships, food assistance, rental subsidies, and all that does not go against your SSI check. Interest on Bureau resources. Now, this has to do with Medicaid as well, because Medicaid's also $2,000 asset limit. If somebody has life insurance on themselves and it's cashable, that's an asset. For instance, my dad, I had to put him in a nursing home, so I needed him Medicaid eligible. He had a life insurance policy that he owned on himself. It was cashable for $2,020. We were over $20 over the asset limit. I had to cash it in because it was $20 over. It was worth $25,000 when he was deceased, but now we didn't have it. So you can have a life insurance policy on the person, but they can't own it themselves. So, for instance, I have life insurance on my daughters. I own it. It's my asset, not theirs. You can do a prepaid burial. That's not an asset. You can't cash that in. So that's what I did with the $2,020. I started a prepaid burial. Doesn't get you much, but you started it. So, okay. These are countable assets again. Anything that's liquid assets, like I said, the life insurance is a liquid asset. Stocks, bonds, they're all assets. Anything that you can cash in is an asset.
What if you have all of that in a trust?
Then that's fine. It can all be in a trust. It's covered by the trust. Mm-hmm. You can also, yes, Lisa.
Stable accounts.
Yes, I was,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I think the next page or two is going to tell you options of what you can do with it. So if you get a lump sum back payment from Social Security for whatever reason, they underpaid you and they give you a lump sum, you got about 9 months to do something with it before it's considered an asset. Suggestions. We talked about the prepaid burial. The trust fund, you can do an exempt trust fund. You can put all the stuff in the trust fund. Trust fund, and then the stable account. You can go to stableaccount.com and open up a stable account. 2016, the federal government approved the ABLE Act. So individuals with disabilities can have monies they can put monies away and would not affect their benefits. It's all online. It's through the Ohio Treasury. Somebody without working, they can put in $20,000 per year. If you're on SSI, you can't have more than $100,000 in lifetime. If you're working, you're allowed $517,000 lifetime, and you're allowed to put in an extra $15,060. So you're allowed to put in $35,060 a year into it. To me, that's a better way to go. A couple of reasons. I mean, trust funds are good, especially if there's a lot of money. These are only my opinions, but a stable account, you can take the money out for what's needed. If this person needs to pay their rent or their utilities, you're allowed to take that out of the stable account. Trust funds, you're not supposed to do that with. Trust funds, you have to go through like an attorney or whatnot to have reasonings of why you're taking the money out. Stable account, you just go in there and you can access it. You can get a debit card with the stable account. So then if you want somebody to have money on a debit card, you just go into the stable account that you set up and you can transfer money onto the debit card. It's going to take a few days, but then they'll transfer the money on the debit card and they'll have the money on the debit card to use for what they need. Just a little bit of differences. If anybody ever needs help with any of that, just let me know. Yes.
Now, if something were to happen to that person, Does that money that's in that stable account go to the state, or does it go to the individual's family?
Nope. There's a Medicaid state recovery, which I put in there. Even with an exempt trust fund, that's a Medicaid payback trust. If an individual is on Medicaid, then Medicaid is going to want to come back and recover some of their money if the individual passes away. Doesn't matter what account the money's in.
Just real quick for our online participants to be
Oh,
able to hear your questions, please wait for a mic if you want to ask
Oh,
something.
sorry. I'll take blame. I'll take blame.
Sorry.
Okay, so the question was, does Medicaid take back the money if they have a stable account? I'm just telling everybody online. The answer is yes. There's a Medicaid estate recovery, but it also, they recover from exempt trust funds, bank accounts, if they so choose. Okay, there's some exemptions of the estate recovery. If somebody has a surviving spouse, a minor child, any disabled children. So if I had a disabled child and they were living with me and I passed away and I was on Medicaid, they're not going to touch anything because I still have my disabled child. Okay. If I lived with my mom and took care of her for a couple of years and kept her out of a nursing home and she was on Medicaid, that's also exempt. They won't take the house because I've been living there taking care of her. So there's some exceptions. If you can show undue hardship. So there's a paper in there about Medicaid recovery you guys have in your folder. But for the most part, if there's monies, they're going to want to, it's not going to be dollar for dollar, but they're going to come back and try and get the state recovery. Yes, Lisa.
What percentage do they normally pay? Say someone's on Social Security for,
It's not Social Security, it's Medicaid.
so say they were on for their, they have a Medicaid waiver, they have, say they were lifetime.
They don't really specify. Oh, sorry.
I'm like frozen there.
Go ahead, Lisa.
What percentage do they take of your assets if you pass away, in terms of if you've been on Medicaid for a lifetime? Like, what is the norm? That would they go in and take everything?
I do not have the answer to that one, but I know they don't take everything. They're not going to go and take everything, but I put in here about Medicaid state recovery in your folder. You can read about it, you can Google it, but they're not, some information is not shared. That's one thing that's not fully shared as far as any percentage, but there are exemptions. Okay, Social Security disabled adult child. An adult child with a disability can receive off of their parents' work record if the parents paid into Social Security. And the adult child was disabled before age 22 and was eligible for SSI benefits. Then you can start receiving off a parent's benefit. So usually it depends on how many people are drawing off that benefit, but it's usually like half. Okay, so if my dad paid into Social Security and I was his disabled daughter and he got $3,000 a month, I'm probably going to get about $1,500 a month. If he passes away and he's not drawing, it's going to go up some, but not the whole $3,000, is from my experience. Minors can receive this benefit if a parent's deceased or disabled. If a minor is deceased, their parent paid into Social Security and the parent died or became disabled, the minor can receive a benefit because they're a minor. Even if they have a disability, it's because they're a minor. Once they turn 18, they're going to have to apply on their own. Okay, because they're no longer a minor, and that's the only reason why they're getting the money. Now we have to apply and show their disability to see if the money continues. You can receive concurrent benefits. So I'm a SSI recipient. My father became disabled. He paid his Social Security, but not a lot. So I'm getting $500 a month off of him, but I'm still eligible for $494 off of SSI to supplement. So because SSI is $994, I'm getting $500 off my father. I still can get some SSI benefits. That's concurrent benefits. If I got $1,000 off my father, I'm no longer eligible for SSI because it's over the $994 a month. Make sense? If you're on this benefit for Social Security, there is no asset limit. However, a lot of the individuals are still on Medicaid, so you got to watch the Medicaid asset limit of $2,000. If you don't have Medicaid, then you don't have an asset limit. Once you're on this benefit, after 24 months, you're eligible now for Medicare. Doesn't matter how old you are. You can get Medicare also. Yes. Oh, yes. Good job, because I would have just answered the question.
I was gonna say. All right, so I'm at the age where I'm going to start drawing Social Security, and my son is over the age of 22. When I start drawing Social Security, he can start drawing Social Security. It'll be half of what I get.
Typically about half if he's
Okay.
the only one that's going to be drawing. Now, sometimes families have 2 or 3 children with a disability.
Okay,
So it depends on how many people are drawing.
Okay, so then I just want to make sure, and then it will be more than the SSI, so that will no longer be an issue for him.
Correct.
SSI. Is it still necessary for us to charge him a proportionate amount of utilities and everything? Do we need to keep track of that stuff then? Because it's not SSI.
Right.
Then.
No,
It's just
no,
regular
no, but you still might want to keep track if you're his payee
Okay.
because you're still responsible for his funds.
Okay, and then for the 2-year period from the time he starts until the time he's Medicare eligible, he's still going to be on Medicaid.
Yes.
And then, regardless of his age, after 24 months, I need to get him in the Medicare system somehow. Like,
They'll send you the information.
okay, I have
They
one
will
more
let you
question.
know.
Let me think.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because this is really critical for us right now.
Let me ask you this about the Medicaid piece, though. If he has SSI, he automatically gets Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
Is he on a waiver?
Yes.
Okay. Then he'll keep his Medicaid. Okay.
Okay.
If he wasn't on a waiver, okay, and he switched from SSI to your benefit and wasn't working in a Medicaid buy-in, he may not qualify for Medicaid. But since he's on a waiver, he qualifies.
Okay. Do I have to start Social Security before he's eligible to start?
Yeah, he can't draw for yours until you
Till
draw
I
till you
commence.
draw for yours.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hmm. Microphone.
Microphone.
Oh, Lisa, go ahead.
Just finishing her thought though, so when you say drawing upon somebody's Social Security, the parent's Social Security, that does not affect the amount the parent gets, right? They still
No,
get full-
it does
it's
not.
Like they take one piece and divvy it up.
No, no, it does not.
Okay.
So the wife, with the husband.
Well, if the spouse is collecting too, and the adult child off the father's or vice whatever, it's going to lower the amount. So if my mom started drawing off my dad's and I was disabled and drawing off my dad's, it's going to be a lesser amount. Mom stops drawing, mine's going to go up.
But that's on the other person. But like you as an individual.
The parent, no, my dad would keep the same amount.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one more question. It's like a really hot topic. Okay, so my my husband and I are still married. So, and we're both legal guardians. Is there a pecking order as to who Social Security?
The higher amount.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hmm.
Do they have to be a legal guardian for him? Same. Do they have to be legal guardian? The parents have to be legal guardian
No.
of the child in order for them to
No,
collect Social Security?
they don't have to be a legal guardian. Okay. Social Security disabled individual. This is an individual who is disabled, who is working and paying into Social Security on their own. Okay. So I'm working, I'm collecting Social Security, SSI benefits, Social Security supplemental income, but I'm working, so I'm paying into Social Security. I'm earning work credits. So I'm building up my work credits through Social Security. Okay. At a certain point, after so many credits, on the next page or so is how to calculate credits, just so you know, it's coming. I might start receiving off of myself. So I might be getting like $400 a month off of my own work record. Now, just so you know, the check from off my own and off my parents does not fluctuate based on what I earn. It's a solid check. Okay. So now I'm going to get 400 off my own. I'm still working. I have SSI, but my SSI is now going to be smaller because I got that check. And then this part of the SSI that I might be able to receive might be smaller based on what I'm doing as far as work. Okay? Because we're still going to do that calculation for the work. And then they'll whatever. So $400. So I'd be eligible for $594 a month SSI. But then if I'm working, that SSI check could be smaller or not even. Doesn't mean I'm not eligible for it. It just means that month I worked a lot, so I'm not eligible for it that month. Okay. When I'm on my own benefit or my parents' benefit, I have to be careful of how much I earn in earned income by work. I can't earn more than $16.90 a month gross earned income. If I consistently earn $16.90 a month gross earned income, eventually Social Security is going to say I'm substantially gainfully employed and I'm no longer eligible for my Social Security check. So, and if somebody wants to work, please, by all means, and they have good benefits at work and stuff and they don't mind, then that's great. But if they don't want to lose their Social Security, keep it under $16.90 a month gross earned income. Okay? Again, I can have concurrent benefits because I can have the SSI my own. I can have my own and my parents' benefit. So I'm working, I can get $600 off of my own work record. I can get $1,200 off my parents' work record. So what they're going to do is give me $600 off of mine and $600 off my parents to make the $1,200 because I'm going to get the higher amount. But they're going to pull from mine and my parents' pot. So I'm going to get $1,200 a month of a Social Security. I'm going to get two checks, one off my parents, one off of mine. No longer SSI though. Does that make sense? They're going to look at the bigger of the two. And then they're still going to draw from both pots to make it to the higher amount. Question? I know you have one. Do you need a microphone?
No, I was thinking more for the SSI, if the parent passes away, they still get the Social Security. That's probably a dumb question.
No, it's not.
If the parent that is drawing the Social Security, the main Social Security, that parent passes away, does that child still get Social Security after
Yes.
he passes away?
Yes.
The same amount?
It'll probably go up.
Or go up? Okay.
Usually it goes up, not double, but it'll go up. So yes, if a parent passes, if I'm drawing off my dad's benefit, he passes away, I'm still going to draw off my dad's benefit. Okay. Again, no asset limit, but you're on Medicaid, so you got to watch the $2,000. 24 months after receiving this benefit, I'm going to get Medicare. Okay. These are your formulas. You have it in your thing. You guys can look at the formulas yourself as far as work credits. The younger you are when you start working, the faster you're going to earn credits and start earning off your own benefit. And how many credits you need for a year. Okay, Medicare, Medicaid, and Medicare. First, do we have questions on Social Security before I move on?
Yeah, on that previous page, you can't figure out all those calculations this fast. But the general question is, if someone, somebody, I don't know, they're over 31 years old, they have at least 40 credits, but they haven't been gainfully employed for 3 years, are they losing? Is their calculation going down because they have
No.
additional years with?
No, they already
credits?
have their credits.
Okay.
They're not going to lose any credits. They already have their credits. And if
They're
they have
trying
40 credits, they probably could be earning off of their own Social Security. Maybe not a lot, but then they could still get the SSI to supplement.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my daughter gets benefits off of our earnings as well as her own. We get an annual report from Social Security that we have to fill out. Does that have to be completed separately for each of those amounts?
No. That's the other thing. Social Security also sends out, sometimes you'll get a work activity report that you have to fill out. You know, is the individual still disabled? Is he working? She working? How much are they making? That's just random and what they need to do. So don't panic about it. Also, just back with the SSI, I know I flop. I'm sorry. When you're getting Social Security supplemental income and you're working, okay, so whatever I earned in March is going to show up in my May check. They're 2 months, kind of 2 months behind, because March I'm going to report beginning of April my March wages, and it's going to come in my May check. Sorry, I go different places. Yes.
So I flipped through to see, so in terms of housing, it's a whole another topic, but it relates to assets. So if an individual has a stable account and that account has been purposely growing in terms of potentially having a down payment for a house, and they get a house, is there a negative to having that house in that person's name?
Mm-mm.
Will that count?
They're
against-
allowed a house and a car with reasonable amount. Not like a huge Cadillac Escalade, you know,
Yeah,
fully loaded.
or like a house if it's like a condo.
Yes, they can have a house.
Does it like, is there a limit as to how expensive that house could be before they? I mean, obviously it won't be like a $500,000.
It won't be
house,
$500,000. Well, then I think we're okay.
Exactly. But like if they have a nice place and it's.
They're allowed to have a house, yes, or a condo, a nice house, nice condo, yes.
Is there a limit anywhere?
I've never seen a limit, but I'm sure, like you said, if it's a $500,000, they might question that a little bit. But a condo or a house, it's a couple $100,000 or a couple bedroom, couple bathrooms, they're allowed to own a home.
And if they have like condo, what do you call it? That's
Homeowners?
HOA fee, yeah.
As long as they can pay their HOA and all that, yes.
Would they ever say, just like, because when the individuals were in the home, like, so they were living at home, and like when my daughter moved out and it was 3 people in the house instead of 4, that was when we ran into the problem of saying that we were then giving in-kind payment because his
She
portion-
wasn't meeting her fair share.
Well, my son, no, she moved out because she's, went to college, got a job, moved out.
Oh, I
So
mean your
there
son.
were 4 of us in the house.
Okay.
She moved out. So instead of dividing it amongst 4 people, it's divided amongst 3 people.
Right.
And Social Security said, we're now giving you less Social Security because we're saying his amount, it's too high of an amount for that house, for our house.
Right.
So we had to make a rental agreement that was a legal rental agreement saying it was this amount, and it got us back to him getting a full amount. Would they look at a home in that same way and say that's too expensive of a home?
Not if he can afford it. Can he afford the rent? Can he afford the mortgage? Can he afford the utilities with his amount of money? Or are
Well,
you
would
paying
they-
for it too?
Would they decrease what they're giving and say that's a higher amount of money, so we're going to decrease what we're giving?
Are you going to be paying for some of it, or is he going to be able to pay for it all with his check?
Yeah, well, that's to be determined. We're looking at options.
I mean, if he can pay for it himself with his check, then he's no longer considered in-kind support, and he can have his condo.
Yeah, okay. That's all to be,
Determined.
yeah.
Would we be able to do, or could you provide just one simple mathematical example on this?
On this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on my computer, but yeah. I don't know if I can get my computer up there. Can I email this to you?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't supposed to get into the work piece until July, but it kind of intertwines sometimes. So let me send him. So I have a couple different calculations. I have one where it's to determine your SSI check though from earned income, or if you have. So are you?
Just looking at this one.
No, I don't have anything on this one because it just says age minus 20. So if I'm 32 or 31 minus 20, 2 credits, 6 you'd have to figure out the calculations. But again, 4 credits, you have to get 4 credits in a year. So I don't have a calculation sheet on this. But I have a calculation sheets on SSI, based on your SSI check on your earnings, your SSI check and earnings, and being on another Social Security disability. But see, I was going to go through all that in July, so you might have to come back in July.
Well, then I'll just wait till July.
You might just wait. Yes. What? Microphone, Zach.
So can an independent individual, should they qualify for or try to qualify for SSI and SSDI, or one or the other?
They can get both SSI and SSD based on their SSI. The full amount is $9.94 a month. If they get off of a parent or their own work record and it's under $9.94 a month, then they can get the SSI to supplement to the $9.94. So if you're getting $600 a month off your parents, you're still eligible for $394 a month SSI. Okay. Now, if you're eligible for $600 a month off your own and $600 a month off your parent, that's $1,200 a month. You went over the SSI threshold amount. No longer SSI is involved.
Okay.
Did that help? Good. Okay. All right. Let's go back here. Okay. So we already know if you have SSI, Social Security Supplemental Income, you automatically get Medicaid. Okay. Let me just go over here. You're not allowed more than $2,000 in assets. Okay, I'm just going to go down here where it says, if an individual does not, these are the ways that you would not get Medicaid. Have a waiver. Everybody know what a waiver is? No. Okay. A waiver is, there's called the individual. Okay. A waiver provides services for an individual with disabilities. The waiver pays for the services, whether it's homemaker personal care services, a provider going in and assisting the individual, pays for day program services, non-medical transportation services to and from the day program, Meals on Wheels, waivers can pay for home adaptations, things like that. So you have to go through a waiver waitlist assessment to see if you are determined eligible to get on the wait list. There's an assessment that has to be done. If you have a waiver, your income limit is higher. So they'll waive a certain amount of income and you'll get Medicaid with the waiver. Okay. So the Medicaid needs allowance is $18.86 a month. Okay. If I didn't have SSI, if I didn't have a waiver, I wasn't in the buy-in program, which we'll talk about in July. Now y'all have to come back. I can't have more than $9.94 a month income or I don't get Medicaid. Okay. If I have a waiver, I'm allowed to have over $1,886 a month in income. So they waive some income. That makes sense? I'm sorry, are you a parent?
Yes.
Okay. How old's your? 5. Okay. Okay. That would be probably something more when your child's a little older, depending on its need, of course, now even. Okay. So just keep that in mind for the future. So having a waiver gives you Medicaid and gives you a higher income limit. Having SSI gives you Medicaid. There is a grandfather clause. The grandfather clause is, say I was eligible for SSI benefits, I don't have a waiver, and I went off of a parent's benefit, and it knocked me off the SSI totally. Job and Family Services could grandfather me in and keep my Medicaid, because they're not going to count that as income. Because I had SSI, but then my parent, I started getting off of theirs. So then that's what made me lose the Medicaid. So there's what's called the grandfather clause at Job and Family Services. And then they'll turn around and give me my Medicaid. They'll grandfather clause me in. Okay, but if I have a waiver, you don't have to worry about that. Question?
How do you get those?
Oh.
Yeah, this is good. Everybody else will know. How do you get the waiver?
Okay. Do you have an SSA? No, Service Support Administrator here at the County Board. No. Any County Board services? Okay, you might want to.
We are extremely lucky because his father works for a company that he gets all of his health benefits, everything,
Mm.
to the company that my husband works. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're extremely lucky.
Okay. We'll talk about that afterwards,
Okay.
and we'll guide you on that. All right. Okay. Um. Okay. When you have a waiver, also.
What's your thing? How do you get waivers? Like, do you guys help with that?
You would have to the waiver. You'd have to ask about a waiver wait list assessment from your. Do you have an service support administrator here?
Yeah.
You'd have to ask for the waiver wait list assessment to be completed.
Okay.
And if they have a current need or extreme need, they'd get on the wait list. If not, then you would need to wait. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you might want to apply for services, but we'll talk about that. So if you have a waiver and you're over 1,886 a month income, you might have to pay a little bit of a patient liability. Anything above the 1,886, you might have to pay. So if it's 2,000, you may have 2,000 a month income, you might have to pay $114 a month towards your Medicaid card. Okay. Here's your patient liability. They add also minus the 65. So if I'm 2,000, the needs allowance 1,886 plus $65 is 1,939. Subtotal 61. I have to pay $61 towards my Medicaid if I had a waiver. If you're on SSI, you pay for nothing. If you're grandfathered in for Medicaid, you pay for nothing. Waiver, if you're under 1,886 a month, you don't pay for the Medicaid. Okay, Medicare. Okay, we have Part A, hospital insurance, inpatient care, skilled nursing, no premium. Medicare Part B. This is this is what you also get when you get off your own work record, Social Security, and off a parent's work record. Okay, right now it's a $202.90 premium a month. That would come out of your Social Security check. However, if you have Medicaid and you're under certain income limits, there's different programs, Medicaid programs, QMB, SLMB, QI program. If you're under certain income limits, Medicaid can pay your Medicare premium. Okay, so QMB program, if you're under $1,325 a month total income, Medicaid's going to pay that Medicare premium. It won't come out of your check, your Social Security check. SLMB is $1,585 a month or less. Okay, next page will show us more about it. So qualified Medicare beneficiary, which is QMB program, helps pay for Part A or Part B premiums, deductibles, co-insurance, and co-pays. So that's the $1,300 and some a month income and less. SLMB, specified low-income Medicare beneficiary, helps pay for the premium and provides extra financial assistance with prescription drugs. Okay. And the QI program pays for Medicare premium only. So if I qualify for any of these Medicaid programs, they're going to pay that $202.90 a month Medicare premium. If my income's over, it's going to come out of my Social Security check. Now, when you get stuff at Job and Family Services, you apply for things, they're going to submit, especially at your annuals, you have to do your annuals at Job and Family Services. They submit everything that goes into the whole computer system of determining what you are eligible for, what you're not eligible for. So now you're going to get all these letters saying, you're not eligible for this, you're not eligible for that, you're eligible for this, you're eligible for that, you're not eligible for that. So they just confuse you, but anyways. But if it says you're eligible for the QMB or you're eligible for the SLMB, it means it's paying for your Medicare premium. If it says you're not, you're going to pay for your own Medicare premium. It might say, if you're on a waiver, again, I keep bringing up waivers, I'm sorry, we'll talk about that later. But it'll say long-term care insurance. So if anybody questions that, it means you're on a waiver. Let me think of some other ones. Medicaid buy-in might say you're qualified for Medicaid buy-in program. That's another program for when you're working. So you'll have to come back in July. Yeah, so the one in July is going to talk more about working and how to work and continue your benefits and what we can do to not affect your benefits. And qualified disabled and working individuals helps pay Part A premiums only. There is no monthly premium, but they're talking about the premiums like your co-pays and stuff. And that's what I have. Except for also in your paper, so when you're applying for Social Security benefits, there's one that says Child Disability Starter Kit and Adult Disability Starter Kit. If you fill out this information when you go to apply, you apply online, you'll have all the information in front of you because this is what they're going to ask you. Okay? They're going to ask you what medicines you're taking, any doctors, any medical tests that you recently had. So this is stuff that you're going to put in there, so it's best just to get it all together before you apply. You apply at socialsecurity.gov. It'll ask you if you're applying for SSI, okay, or it'll ask you if you're applying for other disability benefits. Any questions? It's quite all right. That's why I'm here. And what I can't answer, I'll get for you.
So at Job and Family Services, I learned recently we have a caseworker. Didn't even know who that person was. I just learned because I walked in one day. And no disrespect to you all, this is a lot of information. And I've been in the benefits industry myself for over 40 years, and I'm confused. Is that caseworker able to help me understand this more clearly on a personal level? Or is that something my SSA can help me understand on a personal level?
I can meet with you.
Okay.
My information's right there.
Okay.
Best way is to email me.
Yes.
And I can schedule time to meet with you and sit down one-on-one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, Kim, I do have some in the Q&A.
Oh, okay.
Someone asked if their adult children can collect off a off of a step parent on disability.
If the step parent's the one that supported them through their life.
And the other one was, is the money that is transferred to a SABLE account debit card included in the asset list as part of the 2000 asset max?
Well, if you're putting down on a debit card, you shouldn't be hanging on to it for a while, especially if you're on SSI benefits, Social Security Supplemental Income. Because if it's not spent that month, then it's considered to be against your SSI. So if you're going to take money out and pay your rent out of the stable account and you're on SSI benefits, you need to pay your rent that month with that money. Don't hang on to it. Hi, Joy.
How are you?
I'm lovely. How are you?
Good. I'm just coming to say hi to Stacy. Sorry, I don't mean
Oh. We're about done.
Oh,
We're just taking questions. Joy's a SSA here, Service Support Administrator here. So, any other questions? And if so, please, I have an email. I'm more than happy to email back and forth with you, talk to you on the phone. If you want to come in and sit down with me, I can go over things more in depth. This is just a kind of like a little version. There's a lot more in here, but I had to keep it tamed.
I just want to ask, my son gets like $9.94 a month, and then he worked for like 23 years, so he gets a supplement like $220 or so a month. Now, my husband's retired. Should he be getting off of
his.
You need to apply for it. Did your husband pay into Social Security?
Pardon?
Did your husband pay into Social Security? Then he needs to apply for it.
Oh, okay. Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a limit on how many times you apply for Social Security? Because our incomes are gonna drastically change from one year to the next. So it may make a difference.
You have
if we're
to,
approved or
you
not.
have to let them know within so many days that your income's changed or your job's changed. So you have to report that.
Okay, so it's not just based on like an annual tax return or anything like that?
No, I mean, if your job changes and your income goes higher or lower, you need to report that to Social Security and Medicaid.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just ask a follow-up? Now, does my husband apply for Justin, or does he do it himself? Because he says
He does it himself. Well, you could, I mean, you could do it for him.
yes.
Yeah, I can help you with that.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thanks. Thanks.
you're welcome. Anybody else? All righty. Well, thank you. I think Maggie has something to say.
Of
Maybe.
course. Can I
Oh,
the clicker?
oh, I dropped it. And the thing came off, so it's not working now. Oh, here it is.
So thank you so much to Kim for sharing this information with our group, and thank you to everyone who attended. Before we close out, I wanted to remind you there will be another presentation on benefits and working as a continuation of this topic in July. There's a flyer back there with information. And just for any providers that are here, our next provider and SSA mingle is Wednesday, June 17th. And just a few weeks on Tuesday, June 9th, we will have our annual training about guardianship with some members of the probate court joining us. You can also visit our website, mcbdd.org, and go to the calendar to find out more information on all these events. You have the opportunity now to scan the QR code, or if you're online, I did put in the chat box a link to the survey about this presentation, so you can provide us feedback and share any ideas for future trainings and presentations. It is always greatly appreciated. If in a few weeks you don't see any follow-up email with a link to the recording and the survey again, remember to always be checking your spam folder. Oh, were people still on that? So, other than that, thank you for attending today.
Yeah, usually it's longer, and I have. I'm just doing this piece, so I tried not to flop into the other piece.
Thank you, Kim.